Welcome back. So in this video we're going to take our base kind of bamboo texture here and we're going to colorize it and make a few adjustments to make it a little bit more realistic and match this texture a little bit better. So the first thing I want to do is actually just do a little bit tidy up. So I'm just going to move some of these nodes out of the way. I think we'll do most of our framing and things like that in the next video. So let's get rid of this viewer node and we'll just plug in the final result for the moment and move this out of the way. Okay, so what I want to do is grab a color ramp node and we'll plug this in. And here what we want to do is just grab some of these values here from the image. So I'll grab some dark values, I'll grab the white flag, and I'll grab kind of one of these lighter values. I'll grab a flag and add that in the middle. Grab one of these kind of mid values. Grab another node, try and grab another kind of slightly darker value. And bring in another node around about here. And again try and bring in another one of these kind of mid-tones. And for the moment, I think the colours are pretty much right, but the grain is a little bit off. As you can see from the grain here, we have nothing quite as thick as all this. Now part of this is the fact that we're using, we're using this scale of 60 for the side grain. So I want to increase that just a little bit. Let's increase it to 75, and that fixes some of the grain, but we're still getting a lot of darks. And on this grain here, this 45, we could increase that as much as we want, but we're not really having much of an effect on it. Let's try something like 80, and that's breaking it up a fair bit, but again, not quite as much. So I think what we want to do is actually layer on another set of noise. So I'm going to grab a texture, noise texture. We're going to plug in our mapping and texture coordinates. I'm going to switch it straight over to object and straight to texture. And the scale, and let's look at the scale. I'm going to take that all the way up to something like, yeah, let's try 150. We want it to be pretty fine. We might adjust it a little bit. Let's plug in this color ramp. Let's bring in some blacks, bring in a lot of whites, and let's change the scale and tweak it completely all the way up, so we're getting a lot of detail here. Now looking at it, maybe the scale is a little bit too large. Let's try 120. It's a little bit better, I think. As far as that scale goes, let's just try 250. I'm going to increase that so you can see the values there, because that did look as if it just said 50. Okay, so we have to mix these together. I'm going to do it before the colour ramp, but I'm actually going to do it after this multiply node. So let's grab a mix RGB and plug this in here, and let's plug this one in afterwards. Now, looking at the result here, when it's in mix at 50%, we've got a mix between the two, so we're getting some of these black areas and they're getting lightened, and we're getting some of the lighter areas and they're being darkened. Now we could switch to multiply, and that would darken up the light areas, but the black areas will stay the same. And it doesn't really matter which setting we use. We want to use an effect that affects the blacks and the whites. A good setting for that is actually difference. That really breaks things up, and you can see it gives us a lot of detail. We're getting a lot of different shades, blacks and greys and whites all in here. Obviously we can increase or decrease the factor accordingly to get something that we like, and I think the best way to check this out would be to go to the final result and tweak this factor and just tweak it until we see something that matches the image a little bit better. So I think something like this looks good, but we're getting a little bit too many greys, not enough lights in there. So again, a good way to fix that would be to grab the colour ramp and just bring in a little bit more of your lights, and you can see the shades here. They're pretty much identical. We're getting the same kind of characteristics. If you look at this kind of dark streak here, pretty much the same as this kind of dark streak there. And the closer you get, the more detail you get in your image. The side still looks nice. We're getting a little bit of breakup between the original texture that's going in here and our additional noise. So what we want to do is actually mask off this. Now we already have a mask for the side here, so let's use the same mask. Let's grab this colour and plug it into this factor. Now that means only the top is being affected here by this, but we do want to affect the side just a little bit. So I'm going to grab a colour, mix RGB node, and let's look at what we're using. We're using this white with black at the side. If we go to this mix node, it's mixing in this mid-grey, which is lightening up the white, and it's darkening the white, and it's lightening the black. We don't want to affect the white at all. If you don't want to affect the white, use screen. And now we can use this factor to go between black and a kind of mid-grey type shade. So let's go to our final result again. And let's look at this side grain, and we'll just tweak this factor until we get an effect that we like. So I think that's pretty much the way we maybe want it. The grain at the side is actually looking good. It's not quite as uniform as this, but it still looks pretty good. The grain at the top is looking really nice. So as far as the diffuse section of this texture goes, I think we're pretty much there. So I think in the next video we'll add on our glossy shader and we'll get our Fresnel mix going, and we'll also add a little bit of a normal map.